M. Ericsson presents 4 Ericophones.
Have they begun voting?
What's going to happen if the government's forced
One moment, sir.
Minister, any statement, Minister. Un momento, Minister. Minister.
No. I can't take any calls now. Yes, of course. As soon as the voting's finished. Good. If they could only understand that we've got to give up something if we want to go through with our plans. You've got to invest to get results. Just think of our plans for a complete telephone system. 5 years ago when we started right from the beginning. When we planned the whole thing, the cables were laid right over the country. The network joining us all together. The ministries and the local authorities, all connected to each other. And not only them, the public as well. And then it all started to develop at a tremendous speed. And those millions of wires, which mean communication, contact between us, and a secure contact. Just think of the checks for gas. The cables contain gas under high pressure. So if there's a fault in the cable, it can be noted immediately. Then the automatic exchange, which connects thousands of calls over vast distances in a matter of seconds, and practically service-free as well. This development must continue. Just what would happen if all of this work should be stopped now when it's only half ready? It's not only these important telephone networks and radio links that have got to be extended and function perfectly. It's a question of every type of communication and channel of information between the central government and the whole country. And there are safety installations for the rail network and for the roads. All of that's now ready and working perfectly. But there are still dozens and dozens of plans that we've got to turn into realities. All those opportunities in front of us, if only we get the chance now to get on and finish the job. Why ever doesn't that wretched telephone ring? They must have finished the voting by now. Now, let it be good news. What? A majority? So many? Excellent! Excellent! Now we can get on with the job.
Yes, do that. I'm going to ring Rogus and complain. Oh, yes, but still they insist there's nothing wrong with the safety belt. Okay, I'll have a look at the film again. They are right. There must be something wrong with our instruments. Steve here. Well, the film shows clearly that the tryout with the safety belt was successful. So there must have been something wrong with our instruments. Look, go through all the tests again and give me a ring later, as soon as you've got any results. Yes, I know that the cables are a nuisance and that you can damage them pretty easily. And I know that it's a bit tight for space. But there are plenty of things that work, even if there isn't much space. Well, what about this telephone? It's small enough, but it's been working perfectly for years. Okay then, I'll be hearing from you. A telephone. Wonderful example of something that works trouble-free for years and years. Why, look at the Royal Board of Swedish Telecommunications. There's a telephone customer with plenty of experience. Right back in 1923, they gave an order to Ericsson for the first automatic station in Stockholm. And it's been functioning ever since. 40 years. Absolutely perfectly. And as for the miniaturization of components, well, Ericsson have certainly shown the way to solve those problems. Why, just think about carrier telephony, for instance. Carrier equipment doesn't take any space to speak of. Small transistorized units, exchangeable, light, reliable, and almost service-free. Though they carry out so many complicated functions at the same time, I'm sure we could get the same results. Let me see now. Good. That's what I suspected. But you know, something's just occurred to me. You know how a carrier system works, don't you? And it's one of those problems that Ericssons have solved. Now, wouldn't it be a good idea if we got in touch with them and...
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Oh, I've got a message for you, sir.
Oh, thank you. Anything from Fielding and Wright?
No, I'm afraid we haven't heard anything yet.
Let me know as soon as you hear something, please.
Certainly, sir.
Thank you very much. We really could do with that big order. I wonder what's happened. Would you find the chief engineer for me?
Hello, this is Black speaking.
Hello, John. Look, are you sure we didn't forget something? I mean, we did mention, didn't we, that all our components come from LM Ericsson.
Of course we said that. You know that the thing we're selling is reliability and low service costs. And for that, our products are unbeatable, reliable and fast.
Well, all we can do is wait, but it's a bit nerve-wracking, you know. Well, thanks, John.
Thanks, Chief.
Reliable and fast. True. Like all the LM Ericsson equipment we use. Just take the centralograph, for instance. It reports if and why a machine stops. The time recorder. The staff location system. The Dirivox. Everything which gives exact information and fast communication.
Mr. Johnson from Fielding and Wright.
Hello? Yes? You mean that the whole thing's been decided? Well, that's good to know. Matter of fact, we were sitting here and beginning to wonder.
Oh, how nice to be home again. I've just got to ring Rose immediately.
Darling, you know...
Yes, I know, dear. Don't come home too late, huh? Now, what was Rose's number? Rosie? Oh, when do you think she'll be home? I wonder if you'd be kind enough to ask her to ring me. Mrs. Scarborough. Thank you so much. Maddening that Rosie's not at home. I'm absolutely aching inside to tell her about the trip to Sweden. Now, what shall I tell her first? Let me see. That store in Stockholm will be... No, I can tell her about that later. No, I know. The town hall, where Bill dropped his hat when he was right up in the tower. And those other buildings, and the water, and of course the royal palace. I know. The old town, with those simply lovely, picturesque little winding lanes, just as they were right back in the Middle Ages. Ooh, and that cellar. Bill thought it was a nightclub. And the palace guards marching through the town from their barracks to go on duty. And the band with the trumpets and the drums. A real little army. And then those crowds watching the changing of the guard at the palace. Yes, I must tell her about that. No, I've got it. I'll really impress her. And start off by telling her about the company Bill works for and about the visit to the head office in Stockholm. My husband is at Ericsson, you know, one of the largest telephone companies in the world. They've got factories in South America, in the States, Italy, and haven't they got something in Australia as well? Oh, in any case, they've got offices all over the world. Well, anyway, you should have seen their head office in Stockholm. It was terribly large and modern. And that garden of theirs, the beautiful flowers. They certainly took care of us when we got there. We saw simply masses of interesting things. There were those large thingamajogs, or whatever they're called, and masses of tiny little fiddly things. I just don't know how anyone can ever learn how they work. Well, they make practically everything for telephones, from absolutely tiny, weeny transistors right up to a whole telephone station. Oh, my dear, my feet, with all that walking around. But Bill just went on and on. He wanted to see every little thing. Now, what more shall I tell her? Now, let me see. Yes, I know. They had the most wonderful exhibition. You know, I'm not much for museums and things like that, but there were some really interesting things there. And you know, it was also exclusive. Lots of technical things, of course, but then there were a lot of telephones. Incredible old things, too. And Ericsson has been making them since the 1870s. You just wouldn't believe the really fine things they used to make ages ago. I didn't know that Ericssons were the first people to make telephones in plastic, did you? Of course, they were the absolutely latest thing in telephones there, too. The very latest. Then there was an absolutely massive map and little lights all over the place. Each light was where Ericsson had a factory or an office or a distributor, and there they were all over the world. Then they showed us all the latest things and all their new inventions. All sorts of new telephones and cables and I don't know what. Bill was madly interested. But the thing I really liked was that really modern telephone of theirs, that Ericophone, like the one that we've got. Oh, and then you should have seen the one they had in gold and ivory, like the one the King of Saudi Arabia has. Then we went into their test rooms. Not in the exhibition, of course, in the factory. A bit eerie. Absolutely dead silent. You know, I felt like screaming. And there they were, testing and checking things all over the place. That's what really got Bill, of course. But it was the whole place that got me. Those big buildings in the middle of all that green. And... Hello? Rosie! Oh, yes, of course we're home again, Rosie, darling. Oh, it's been simply wonderful. Stores and everything. And do you know who I met there in Stockholm? Oh, you'll never believe it. But do you remember Cynthia's birthday?